Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 4, season 5 of DRONEHACK Productions YouTube channel. In this season, I'm bringing you content that's all about the SUPER73 and all the adventures that I'm having with it. In the first few months of building content with the SUPER73, I ran into a lot of hurdles because the ideas that I initially had were basically just failures. And I had to really go back to the drawing board and find better methodologies of filming. So in this episode, I want to bring to you one of the main solutions that I found for one of the most important shots that you have when you're filming yourself on an e-bike, and that's your action camera. So on my very first ride, I got my GoPro and I just strapped it to the bike using the standard GoPro mounts. And what occurred is that I got some footage back that had a lot of micro jitters and a lot of movement in it and stuff that I didn't really want. It wasn't the cinematic content that I was really hoping for, and the content that I had envisioned in my head. So I had to sit on my hands and go back to the drawing board and think of a way to try and solve that. And there was all types of ideas from, small rig, sort of shock absorbers to all types of, balancing arms and, gimbals and stuff. But none of them really worked in the way that I wanted to, in a simple, strong, robust way. So I really had to sit on my hands for a bit. So I came across my solution just randomly one day when I was buying an iPhone holder for the car. I was buying some QUADLOCK products and I noticed that if I purchased the right products and assembled them in just the right way, I'd get something that I could mount my action camera to that would give me really, really good positioning and composition options and a lot of varied shots. So I tested it out knowing that I could use it as a phone holder as well, and the results were instantly noticeable. So I was able to put that into practice and up my action camera game a lot. So essentially what I want to do with this episode now is show you what I've built and what I've done, and you can decide for yourself. So stand by and I'm going to show you what I did with the QUADLOCK accessories to build the ultimate action camera mount for your bike or anything else that's moving quickly. So after coming home initially with all this QUADLOCK gear, the idea of building this bike mount was just a concept. I didn't really know if it was going to work. It looked like, fundamentally it was going to, but I had to build a prototype, and this video is me building that prototype. Welcome everyone. As you know, I love to film myself riding along on the bicycle, but one thing I've always lacked is a good quality action camera mount for the bike. GoPro makes one, but it's a bit lackluster and lacks the ability to sort of move it around and the rigidity that you probably want when you're moving, I guess, like the heavy bike does. So I think this might be the answer. So what I've purchased is these different components from QUADLOCK. I think this is going to give me a good solid base for everything that I need. So what I have is the base for this is the bar clamp in the medium size, and then the dual pivot medium post that should attach to this, and then I'll be able to put this head on, and at some point I'll also be able to put this vibration dampener that's usually designed just to protect your phone on a really rumbly bike like a Harley, but I'm going to try and use it to reduce the amount of vibration on the action camera. So with that, then you should be able to snap on the action camera mount. So I'm going to put all that together and see how I go. So let's do it. So first things first, I'll go with the base. Go on the bottom here, might not need the knife. So they're just different adapters for different width handlebars, and I'll deal with that later. For now, I just want the bar itself. I think that looks perfect. That'll definitely fit on. And it's always good to keep these boxes for later, but I'll put that aside for now. But I have the mount there, looking cool, and that is where this part will go on to. So, dealt with these before, so I know there's a little trick to these. So I'll put that there, but the trick is that the screw actually goes in a little spot underneath the ball joint, which I'll show you in a sec. There we go. So now that goes in there. Alright, so now that's formed the base there. So that's what clamps onto the bike. This gives me my nice rigid gooseneck. And now I choose what head goes on here. This is where I'm not sure. So with this part, I'm sort of just dabbling. I can obviously definitely put this on here. And then I'm going to see how this may work. So actually I might open this first and see. So it always comes with the hardware you need. So that's cool. That obviously can go onto there. So that's where I think it's best. Oh, that's super cool. So if that just goes on like that. That's cool. Now hopefully that head goes onto there. And if it does, then Bob's your auntie. Oh. We may have action satisfaction here. Indeed. Wow. This may be old hat to everyone. I haven't really checked YouTube to see if this is just normal, but yeah, that is sick. That's so cool. And then, so really what I can also do is I can unscrew this and put it on my suction cup in the car or something if I want to, or really I can undo this and put it onto any sort of base here. So this just becomes like the ultimate camera mount. So I'm really happy with that. And then those will go on the bike. I'll do that part later and attach it to the bike, but that there for now is almost finished. As you can see, that you could put your phone on there too if you wanted to. There's no trouble with that. But here we go is the piece de resistance. This little guy. So this should, all things being equal, and it does. Wow, that is cool. That is just cool. Now this obviously undoes to give you this, and then I think we can take this out, put this in, and now we have control via our hands, which is what we wanted. So now we can put that in anywhere we want. Loosen it off, tighten it up, bada bing bada boom. And the best thing about that is it should, if I'm right, work off angle a little bit like this. Yeah, perfect. It'd be good if we could go further that way and further that way, but it's good for now. It's good. I'm really happy with that. So we've built it. Now we have to see if it actually performs. Fun stuff though. I think this and suction cup will be a very cool addition. We'll wait and see. That's cool. Interesting thing, this vibration thing may be more of a curse than a help, so we'll keep an eye on that. Alright, so time to take it out on the bike and actually test it. So obviously I needed to do some real world testing, but before I could do that I needed to attach the camera mount to the bike, and that brought up the first issue as to where to put it. So I just went with the rear swing arm to begin with. So I'm going to start by attaching it to this rear arm here. So all you have to do is just clip it on and screw the base mount. So the base mount's what I showed you in the video. That's the pole clamp. And then that just screws onto there using a hex key. Just tighten that up. And obviously you could position that wherever you wanted to, but I'll have it positioned there. And just loosen that off. Put that on the ball, tighten that up, and you can see now you have all that motion. I'm sure the ball will wear out at some point, but at the moment it's working really well. And you can see that's nice and rigid, and the shock absorber there to take away any of the micro jitters. So after attaching the mount to the bike, I then had to take it out into the real world and see how it really performed. This is my first ride out with the new mount. I look forward to seeing if it improves the footage. You can't tell while you're riding if the footage is going to be better, and if anything it looks really wobbly while you're riding, but when you get back and see it on the computer, you can rest your fears because the footage looks great. I had it positioned on the rear swing arm, facing forward. Obviously in that position you can see a lot of leg, and I should probably position it a little lower, but I'll do that next time. The best thing about this is you can change it and put it wherever you want. A lot of these angles weren't possible before this mount, so it's really cool to be able to get these positions. It's very versatile and easy to use, and that was my goal when originally creating it and what I was missing when I first started out. The mount needs to be simple and easy to use while riding. You got to remember that I'm still using the main camera and the drone as well. I also use these videos as a way to learn new techniques. Action cameras have always given me a bit of grief. Getting better consistency makes it more likely I'll use the footage. This shows the mount in one of its weakest positions, but as you can see it still holds up very well. Very rigid, very strong. The mount allows you to keep the camera well and truly out of the way. You don't want to be damaging the bike or the camera. The reason I care so much is that I'm always trying to get the best image I can. So I thought you guys probably haven't seen enough of my right leg, so here's another shot for you. In all fairness, this footage demonstrates how well it performs on an uneven road surface, and as you can see it does really well. Weight transfers and vibrations on this path are quite severe, so it's a good one to test on. So after testing, all the results were really positive, but what I did realize is that you guys were going to get sick of staring at my legs, and I was also too lazy to reposition the clamp, so I knew I would need to get a second mount in order to just make my workflow more swift and easy to work with while I was on the fly. Alright, thanks for tuning in, and this is like just a follow-up video for the ultimate action camera mount for bikes, cars, and pretty much any other moving vehicle type of thing. So really in my last video it was experimental. I didn't know if what I was building was actually going to work, but now I know it's excellent. So what I'm doing now is I'm building a second one because obviously I've got lots of cameras and I want to get many angles. So this is a rebuild, but also just to sort of re-explain some of the philosophy behind building your own type of mount using QUADLOCK. And I guess once I understood this, it was easy for me to sort of wrap my head around how to sort of see a light at the end of the tunnel for me and how I could use it. So first and foremost, I guess where I wanted to start is that when you build your QUADLOCK is you need to attach it to something. So that's where those bases come in. So you can see here the bar clamp, that one there is obviously designed to go onto posts and poles. You've got the suction cup, and that's designed to go onto obviously smooth flat surfaces. And then you've got the adhesive mount, which you can just stick onto things. So all of those are different types of handy ways that you can attach it. And once you've got it attached to something, then you want to be able to, so this is for an action camera, you remember. So what you want to be able to do once you've attached it to something is you want to be able to position the camera to get the best composition. And that's where I think this is the magic golden goose here, because this part here allows you to move on lots of different axes, the camera and the positioning, so you can separate it a little bit from where it's mounted, and that's really handy to get good separation and I guess just good framing for your action camera. So that's a really important accessory, but you can get smaller ones, you can get extension rods, you can get all types of things to make that work well for you. So once you've got that arm attached to the base, then you need to attach it to a head. And before you put the head on, one of the key important parts is this vibration dampener. And this is just something that they make for really rattly motorbikes, but I'm repurposing it, or I guess reassigning it to the purpose of action camera mount. So I think this is going to be really, really important,
and that is what's taken out all of those micro jitters. So yeah, you definitely need that in order to create this ultimate camera mount. And once you've got that on, then you put the head on. So the head that I like to use the most is the lever head. The lever head or lever head looks cool, but it also just you know when you've got it on that you've got a nice secure fit. And yeah, I think it just stops it from twisting any further as well. So I'm a big fan of that. It looks really cool on the bike too. And when you combine that with the action camera adapter, then that's how you basically get quick on and off movability for your camera when you want to just get rid of it off the bike. So those are essentially the bits and pieces that I use to build. And after testing it now, I'm very confident that if you combine these sort of things together, then you're going to get the same sort of results that I'm getting, which is a much smoother action cam picture. And obviously they have their own built-in stabilization, but to have something that just takes it out at the filming level, that's really, really helpful. And it looks cool too. And you'll be able to repurpose it for different types of things. So as a working videographer, then that's a really important part for me too. So yeah, big thumbs up for this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build it and show you the end result and show you fitting it to the bike. Got it being, and this is the ultimate bike mount for action camera. So you can put anything on that, because all you do is get the action camera mount and that just twists on like any other quad lock. And now you know it's on firmly, and that does a terrific job of getting rid of any of those micro jitters. Let me show you putting it on the bike now, and you can see how I position it and how this part here, this goes onto the bike permanently or semi-permanently, and then I can just unscrew it and put it into different positions. Now put this one on the front here. So it's the same principle. Undo the latch. I'll have that one sit on there. That's nice and tight there now, and that should give me nice articulation and motion on all angles, because that's the one that I'm going to use to face back at me, and that'll come off nice and easy. We go that way, it's the better way, and then back on if we need it. Boom. Love it. Voila! So good. As you can see in the footage, I have it mounted up right over the handlebars, and in this position you get a good vantage of road's eye view. This is really cool because it takes all the bike out of the mix. This is a difficult shot to get without micro jitters. Any of the other mounts weren't rigid enough. As you can see with this one, it's nice and fluid, and it gives you the perspective of being right heads on view. In this position it makes you feel like you're going way faster than you actually are. And again, the footage is jitter free. This is the main goal, so I'm very happy with that. You can see really aggressive movements get pretty wobbly still. That's not the sort of riding I do, but if you are a more aggressive rider, it may not be the best answer. It definitely suits the more cruisy riding that I like to do. I can see that with some tightening and repositioning, it should be fine on the dirt tracks that I frequent. The top-down shot of the front tyre will be a great shot to incorporate in my videos. I love the way it showcases the light and the shadows as I transverse over different surfaces. As I transition from the track to the path, the camera staying steady really helps to tell the story of transversing those different scenes. You can see how this angle stresses the mount to the max, but it still does really well. With this shot, you can actually see how much the bike is vibrating. I love these lateral motion shots. It helps to tell the story of going somewhere. I really like to use that in my storytelling. I love the way it highlights the scenery and shows you where you are. I'm not 100% sure if I like this off-angle shot. Don't know if it's good or bad, but again, it does help to show the motion in a certain direction. I think I'm a fan. The places you generally ride an e-bike, you definitely want to see all the beautiful scenery and the points of interest. Just good, simple B-roll. What I like about this content is it mixes everything that I like together in one. No one really wants to see this angle, but during my videos I'm going to be talking to camera quite a lot, so it's important for me to test it out and get used to it. Watching yourself and hearing yourself is obviously confronting, but when you're on a bike it's a little bit more so. On top of that, you're acting like a bit of a wanker and people see you coming from a mile away. The mount works really well and it works like a tripod or a gimbal and helps with all types of content creation. The angles and options for composition are endless and I look forward to exploring the options while out riding. It's fun finally having all the elements coming together. I have a vision for how I want to do things, so I'll just keep chipping away until I'm fully there. This new mount has pretty much met every criteria it needs to justify spending the extra time, effort and resources on doing it. I'm really happy with the results.
Alright, so there's just a few things I wanted to summarize before finishing up. The first is, obviously I'm saying that this is the ultimate action camera mount for a bike, but I've only done a little bit of research and there might be something better out there and I may change my mind in about 30 seconds, but for now that's what I'm pushing out here as the best one. There's obviously a few limitations with it. As I mentioned in the video, if you're doing really aggressive biking, it's probably not going to suit that because it will get really wobbly, but there might be ways to mitigate it and still use some of the components to optimize what you're already getting, so that's something to keep in mind. The next is that I've really tailored this to my situation. I haven't really thought about it in a broader sense, so whilst it suits me, it may not suit you. And obviously when you're fitting things to it, what I've found is that you have to make sure that when you're on the bike you tighten things up really tight, tighter than you would in most other situations. So that was something that I noticed as well. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, also it's probably important to mention that these aren't really cheap. They're a pretty expensive option, but they're effective and they should last a long time and work over many generations of action cameras, so I'm happy to spend the money at the moment. Another quick thing to mention is that a lot of the fittings that you find, whilst they might work well, they don't look good. This fits the category of looking good and working well.
Alright, so the bike's fully action camera'd up. The QUADLOCK accessories really do help with the aesthetics and the functionality. And not only that, the footage really does speak for itself. So really all that's left now is for me to get out and prove that to you by filming some more content. So I'll get to that right away, but just remember in the next episode I've still got some more complications that I'm going to solve for you. Obviously this is just a small part of it, but one of the most fundamental. So thanks for watching, and if you like what I've done, don't forget to follow, like and subscribe.